Hey, I'm Pascal from Orangepixel and welcome to a fun little video ranking my own games. Not all my games, because I've been doing it for 20 years now, and in total I think I created close to 70 games. 70, not 17, 70. Early Orangepixel years were mobile games. Before smartphones, 2004 until 2009, those games were very small because of technical capabilities of the devices. So I was making a game each month or so. We have slowed down since, but I'm not going to rank all the games. Maybe if you guys like this video, let me know. I'll do a part 2 and we'll rank all my older games, which are not playable. Well, they are playable, emulated. But I also ask Aline to sit in on that one, as she played a lot of the games back then. It should be a fun video. If you like it, if you want to see that, let me know. We'll do a part 2. For this video, we're gonna look at my current live games. So that covers 2011 up to now. 19 or 20 games, 19 I think, 19 games. Let's rank them, make a tier list, tier. Let's rank them, and I'll rank them based on how development went, what I think about them now that they are live out there in the world compared to my other games. Maybe we'll throw in some revenue, how they did as well. Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's create tier list. Orangepixel games ranked. Create it, and never done this before, but I checked out this website. I prepared. So I have a bunch of images of all these games, 19 games. Let's start ranking them. Yeah, there they are. Let's go. All right. We'll start just alphabetically, I guess, which means Ashworld, the first one. I'm not going to rename all this. Let's just see. The top one is the best one. The bottom, the D, is worst. Worst. Or for the Dutchies, worst. Anyway, most awesome, I guess I am gonna name them Ashworld. Okay, so Ashworld is a tiny version of an open world game. I had a great idea, but let's first rank it based on how it resulted or how it got released. The end result is not everything I hoped it would be. I was aiming for much bigger, but also creating an open world was just stupidity on my end, having no experience with it. So the end game has always felt a little bit difficult, like it wasn't the game I wanted to create. But over the recent years, I appreciate the game now for what it is. It's not a bad game. Honestly, all these games I'm rating, none of them are bad, but I'm the creator, so I'm biased. Ashworld isn't bad. It just didn't become the awesome game I wanted it to be, but it is, for the longest time, it has been one of my biggest projects. For now, I'm putting it over there. It might drop a little bit in rank. Gauntlet of Power, recent, or one of the most recent games, and I'm gonna put it in awesome because, first of all, the project had to be a very short development cycle, 5 or 6 months. And I nailed that. Also, every idea I had worked, and this game became exactly the type of game I wanted it to be. Of course, there is always room for improvements on every project I release, because that's also what keeps me going and creating a new game. There will eventually be a sequel to this that improves on certain aspects of the game, but Gauntlet of Power is the game I wanted to create. The final result is almost perfect to what I had in mind, and it does help that financially it broke even within 4 or 5 months of launching it, so it's now making money for the next 20 years, hopefully. Moving on to Groundskeeper. This is a difficult one. Groundskeeper 2, because Groundskeeper 1 was a game jam game. Low resolution, I think low resolution, like very tiny. I think it was 64 pixels wide and 16 pixels high, and the whole game played in that for the jam. However, the gameplay, the core loop, was kind of interesting, so I wanted to make a bigger version. Groundskeeper 2 was going to actually be a platformer at some point. Weird, I know, because that wasn't the original version and it wasn't what I wanted to create. Eventually I made a fun arcade game. If you're looking for an arcade game, Groundskeeper 2 is that, which limits its audience a little bit. Now obviously it's not a bad game, I mentioned that before. It's a good game, but it's very very simple. It's a simplistic game that has a very cool core game loop. If you get into it, if you love playing it, or if you give it a try and play it and you'll unlock all these extra things, it has a hook that keeps you playing, but it's not the big production like Ashworld or Gunspower. So we're gonna place it there for now. Moving on to Gunslugs. Yeah, this is kind of a little bit of one of those darling games I have. It's this nice little package that I created very quickly in 2013, and the game went everywhere. It went on. It had a deal with PlayStation for the PS Vita version. I think PlayStation version, not sure. No, I don't think a PlayStation, but a PS Vita. It has been released on 3DS. Recently, a buddy of mine did a Mega Drive conversion port thing, not based on this game, well, based on the source code, but he rewrote it in assembler. It's a different game, but it's the same game. Yeah. Gunslugs is one of my little darlings. Same with Heroes of Loot, we're gonna get to that. Gunslugs 1. However, it's not the big title as Ashworld or some of my other games. I'm gonna move it to the B, and I'm gonna move Groundskeeper below it. Mostly because I have more feeling with Gunslugs, and I created 3 parts of Gunslugs for a reason. I like that little chaotic world of platform action shooting. So yeah, let's place it there. And of course we're gonna have Gunslugs 2 and 3 as well. I would like to place Gunslugs 2 like somewhere in between these A and B. I think Gunslugs 2 is the better version of Gunslugs 1 in most aspects, action-wise, graphic-wise, just everything. It's like the grown-up version of Gunslugs. But Gunslugs 1 opened a lot of doors for Orangepixel and got me into places that Gunslugs 2 didn't manage to do. If I had to recommend a game to somebody, Gunslugs 1 or 2, I would recommend part 2, but in this ranking list it does not outrank Gunslugs 1, not in that sense. I love both games. Gunslugs 3, I did a couple of videos on this one on this channel. I think for a long time I had placed Gunslugs 3 Rogue Tactics as the worst, as one of my worst releases. It's the only game that never made a profit. It's now almost breaking even because of a certain deal. It just never performed as it should have, given the amount of time I put into this game. However, I recently upgraded it, updated it, better controls gamepad, and looked at a couple of things that needed fixing. I'm now moving it to C. It's not as good as Gunslugs 1 and 2. But yeah, I'm gonna put it at the Groundskeeper 2. You have to get into the game and get a feeling for it before you really enjoy the game, or before you would pick it up. You wouldn't pick these games up just by looking at it, but once you get into them, they're worth it. Heroes of Loot, at least same level as Gunslugs. This game has been my biggest hit revenue-wise. Also opened a lot of doors, also got on PlayStation, Ouya, there is a Mega Drive version, just not released yet, Switch, 3DS, it went places and it got Orangepixel into places. Honestly, if we just look at the gameplay wise of this, I would actually move this one lower. It's very hard. I'm ranking these games by feeling. That's probably going to be like the title of this YouTube video. Ranking my games based on feelings. Let's move on. We might switch this around a little bit, because that brings us to Heroes of Loot 2, which I think is the better game of these two games. Although most players played version 1 and loved that one, not as many people picked up the second part. For me, Heroes of Loot 2 is everything that Heroes of Loot 1 should have been. So I'm gonna rank it higher than the original one. This might piss off some Orangepixel fans that would change this, but I think Heroes of Loot 2 is the better game of these two. Technically, gameplay wise, yeah, it's just a better game. That's all I can say about it. Ink, one of my classics. I'm gonna put it here. It's a very interesting platformer with a story. I'm being very... This feels like hurting my games, putting it down there. It's not a terrible game, Ink. It's a platformer that I made just before Gunslugs. In a sense, it uses the same technology I used for Gunslugs back then and the same layout of levels and enemies. Without Ink, the beginning, there would not have been a Gunslugs. So Gunslugs is like a colored version of Ink. Ink also has a story that does play into it all. I feel bad putting it down there, but it just, compared to my other games, it is old. This is a game from 2011, 2010. I'm gonna put it there for now. Yeah, that brings us to Meganoid. I think this belongs in the line of Gunslugs 2, Heroes of Loot 2, and then Meganoid. This was a reboot of my original Meganoid concept. The original Meganoid was released in 2010, and a lot of people played it and still want me to port that game to PC and consoles. However, that game, it's old. Like, the code base is so old, I would really need to sit down and rewrite it. And at some point I figured it's a lot easier to just create a new Meganoid game, which is this game. Meganoid was built very quickly and released on iOS, Android and PC, and profitable also within a very short time because it was built very quickly. It's a lot... I got inspired by Spelunky. I got inspired by Spelunky, platform-wise, how the levels are built and how it has these roguelike elements for a platformer. It has a very weird pace compared to all my other games and most games, I think. It has a very weird pace in movement speed and jumping speed, and I don't know. If you play it, you'll notice that there is something eerie during the levels, but it does suck you in and wants you to get further and further into the game. I really love how Meganoid turned out and what I wanted to create, and I think I'm actually going to move it up here because it became the kind of game I wanted to create. In a short time, everything worked, and yeah, I'm going to put it up there, like Ashworld. Meganoid Chronicles, which is an older game as the other Meganoid. I'm going to place this over here alongside Heroes of Loot and Groundskeeper. Meganoid is the classic platformer. The only downside on this game is that it doesn't seem to fit the Meganoid brand. I'm not sure. I wanted to create an Indiana Jones-like game, and I knew the original Meganoid did very well, mostly because it was a free game on Android and iOS, so it had more than 1 million downloads. Everybody knew Meganoid. I figured if I create an Indiana Jones-like version, so temples, spikes, boulders, bats, snakes, somehow that would make it sell very well. However, I now am here 12 years later, 13 years later, having this weird game that doesn't fit the brand. The Meganoid Chronicles, it doesn't fit the robotic nature of Meganoid. I don't know. I can make a story around it, like the grandpa or ancient version, that family tree, whatever. But it's a good game with 100 handcrafted levels to go through. Very challenging. It's now re-released last year. I've been working on it for a Steam version, Epic Games, GOG, I think. I'm not sure. Switch. Yeah, Heroes of Loot, Meganoid Chronicles. I think that's the right place for it. Neoteria. Yeah, I feel it's not classics. I'm just gonna rename this to classics, but because most of my classics are now in this category. Neoteria is another old game that I updated this year. Horizontal shooter. That's it. It's literally just a horizontal shooter. Always wanted to make one of those, but the market isn't there for it anymore, because if it was, I would make a lot more. I always loved these games. And Neoteria is exactly what I wanted to create, a horizontal shooter, so it should, in that regard, list or rank a little bit higher, but it's also a short game. I felt, updating it for Steam and Switch, I felt it's short. That's why it's always on a budget price also. It's a short game, but still challenging, so some people will still spend a lot of time trying to complete it. It does have some alternate levels that you can unlock. It's a horizontal shooter. It's really straightforward. I think it was developed in like maybe 2-3 months. This was before I started creating bigger and bigger games. It's what it is. You can't fault it for what it is. It's a shooter. All right, that brings me to Regulators. Yeah, right. The game with a very long story that I think I've done on this channel a few times. For those that don't know, just very short recap. This game took the longest to create from start to finish. I had a great idea, was talking to the publisher I had before that for Residual. I'll get into that in a minute. They didn't like it, or the investors didn't like it at a very early stage. Even I wasn't liking it. It was just a mock-up and some movements. Way too soon to show it to investors, but it happened. Then I had funding for it from the Dutch mid-game funding. Then I had a period of many life things happening. My mom passing away, depression, a bunch of things. And it just stretched the development of this game more and more. I wasn't feeling this game at some point. It wasn't the game I wanted to create. There was a lot of things happening. There's a lot in there, and I just wasn't happy with it until the end, when I pushed for 3 or 4 months, fully focusing on getting this game up to speed and to the right thing, the thing that I wanted to create and was proud of to release as Orangepixel game, and I managed to do that. It's not as awesome as Gauntlet of Power. It is easily one of my bigger games. There's so many gameplay elements in there with the mini scenes, like mini games you have to do to perform all the different weapons, sniper effects. There's a lot there. It's a huge game. I have not played it since the launch. I think I'm gonna make a video at some point where I start playing this game again. It's just been a struggle developing it, and that's why, yeah, I'm not sure how I'm ranking these games anymore. If I'm ranking it based on development and how that went, this one would be way below everything. If I rank it based on what it is now, I think it fits us in the, no, not in the awesome category, but in the Ashworld Meganoid. I think it fits there. It's a big game. It's a cool game. It's a great shooter. I know it is. I just haven't played it anymore since release, and it has not been profitable yet because it's just too much time spent on it. Obviously, it's not gonna be profitable for years to come because I wasted too much time developing this game. But it is a good game. I'm gonna put it here just based on feeling right now. It feels good to put it along at the same line as Ashworld, which also felt like a game that I maybe wasn't happy with, but now years later I can see that the game is actually good, and I'm sure at some point I'll love Regulators again and will be playing it again. But right now, yeah, it sits there. Residual, I'm gonna put it in the awesome list. This game did not end up the way I was envisioning it when I started. I was thinking about very small scale survival, like on a planet, and have the player figure out how to survive. But that doesn't make for a cool game if you let the player just move around and have nothing around it. So the game got bigger and bigger. I did a Kickstarter which succeeded, which brought me a publisher back then, and that made the game bigger and bigger because now we had options for translations, voice acting, extra musician doing extra things. The game just got bigger, and then it was stretched out with development. I'm not even sure why, but at some point they wanted to have me work on it for a few months longer for some reason. If we have, I'm not sure what happened there. Might have something to do with investors. I don't know. The game got bigger and bigger. The end result is an amazing game that has easily the longest amount of hours per game compared to all my other games. You could spend, I think, 4 to 6 hours on a planet, with the goal being to get off that planet, fixing your ship and take off. It's a huge game. It has a lot of cool things happening, like all the life forms on the planet are procedural. Bodies, tails, heads, combining them into new things. A whole temperature system that decides where growth is, where fauna is, and where certain creatures can live, and all that. It's a huge game. I learned a lot of things technically that I haven't reused in any of my other games yet, but I learned a lot there, and the end result is just an awesome game, and I can't really... It looks like it was created by a huge team. So yeah, it feels like an awesome game to me still. I'm placing it there, which brings me to Sir Questionnaire, which is a bit of a weirdo in my whole collection of games. Because Sir Questionnaire is I think I created Sir Questionnaire while also working on Gunslugs Rogue Tactics. Rogue Tactics was taking long, and I had this weird idea for a little mobile game which would just give you 2 options. A quest, an adventure, but you always had 2 options. Go through the door or run out of the room, grab the key or not, hit the enemy, or maybe take a potion. Always 2 options to get further and further into the game. Very simple to play vertically on your device. It was made in a very short development cycle, and because the gameplay was so easy with just 2 buttons, 2 options, I could add more and more and more content. There's a lot of content there, a lot of items, a lot of entities, a lot of secrets. It's a weird game. If you look at this game or at screenshots, and if you play it for maybe a couple of seconds and you don't really give it some more time, this game is not gonna grab you. You will have, I don't know, you won't like this game. But the players that gave it more time love it, and there have been so many hours of game time on this Sir Questionnaire. But I know it's a weird game, and it's a weird selling point, and it was originally designed for a vertical mobile screen, but then I also wanted to do it on, like all my games are released on everything, so there's a PC version. Then I had to suddenly put inventory on the right side. The gameplay, it's a bit messy, but it works. But it's still a quirky, weird game. I think I've been saying that for a couple of my games now. I should make games that are easier to explain, so I don't have to explain them. Sir Questionnaire, I think I'm gonna rank it up here. Revenue-wise, it did amazing, mostly because I had an Apple App Store, iOS App Store feature pretty early on. Front page, game of the day for one day, but then the rest of the week it's still on the front page, so it did very well, and it was profitable long before I put it on Steam. For a very weird little game that I think was made in just a few weeks, maybe 2 months, because the core gameplay was so simple. So Sir Questionnaire, put it up there. Snake Core, I'm gonna put this with the classics. Why? Classics, because Snake Core is a sort of a recreation of an older game of mine, Mini Army, which is Snake. Like a snake, you grab something, an apple I think, and then your body grows and you grow until you're longer. And that was Mini Army, except with soldiers that would shoot the enemy, and if you shot the enemy you would gain a soldier and your army would get bigger, and eventually there's no room to move. Mini Army was released on Android in 2009 and iOS in 2010 probably. It doesn't run on modern hardware anymore, modern smartphones. I wanted to recreate that game because I think it has a lot of potential. Snakecore became exactly what it had to. It has a lot more features than Mini Army has. It's an arcade game like Groundskeeper 2. It's very simple, if you see it, you understand what to do, and you know how to play it, and you also know everything it has to offer. Although it offers different gameplay mechanics and different level types, but you'll quickly have seen everything it has to offer. And then it's just a matter, do you like to set a new score or not? Arcade game. Yeah, putting it with the classics. It's not a special game. It's very quickly made, in between projects, I think. It's a cool little game. Cool little classic game. Space Grunts. I'm gonna put this one in the awesome list. I almost forgot about Space Grunts. Space Grunts 2015 is my first attempt at doing a turn-based game. However, my idea was turn-based games, strategic games, they always are kind of slow. And you have to select a weapon, and you have to aim or first move a couple of spots, and then you can do an aiming event, and then you have to wait for the enemy to move and another enemy to move. Slow-paced games. Not my style. I wanted an action arcade game turn-based. And that's what it is. As soon as you move, everything else moves and you can move. There is no delay or wait if you don't want to. Everything is instant. There have been other games that do it now, but back then there weren't really any other games doing it that quickly. For a first attempt at a turn-based game, it turned out pretty well. Turn-based game turned out pretty well. Headline. It's a roguelike, turn-based roguelike. Everything you expect it to be, everything you expect from such a game is in there. A lot of secret features and hidden things, bonus or no, not bonus areas, but secret levels you can unlock to have alternate routes, items to use, and very challenging to defeat it. If you cannot defeat it, it does still feel tempting to try it again, because you usually know where things went wrong, and it's always procedural, so every experience is different. Also the reason I'm creating a new Space Grunts game, Chrono Shard, which is not on this list because it's not done yet. Moving to Space Grunts 2, very different story. It's not a classic, so I'm not gonna put it with the classics. I'm gonna put it over here. Yeah, there's a delay here because Space Grunts 2, I wanted to create or try a card battle game because there was a hype of a lot of these games doing very well, and I was just following that trend, trying to see if I could maybe make that work in one of my titles. I picked Space Grunts, turn-based, felt like deck battling could combine very well. It combined. I'm not sure how well it did. Not everybody loved the game. I like it. I think I like it. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I like. When I was developing this game, I was really loving it, really feeling it. But I think the issue for me here is that when I released the game as part of Space Grunts, people expected something more like the original. And I think that's where it went wrong. I should have just renamed this to something completely different, not in the Space Grunts universe. And then it might have been doing much better. But like I said, it did well. It made a profit. It was featured, I think, on iOS at some point. I feel like it sits there as it's not a classic. It's not a terrible game. It's different. It didn't turn out as I was hoping, audience-wise, I guess. Technically, it's the type of. It could have also been a little bit better visually, I think. It's weak in the visuals, and the result in the marketplace just wasn't what I was expecting from it. I figured all these deck card battling games, and this is a fun twist on that. How can this go wrong? And it just didn't do what I expected, I think. I'm not sure. Just how it feels. That brings me to the last game, Stardash. And Stardash should be in the classics. I think this is the oldest game of all of my games over here. Neoteria or Star. I think Stardash might be the oldest. 2011. it's very clear what this tries to be, a Game Boy style platformer, but back then on iOS and Android, I wasn't doing PC games yet. I haven't released this game on PC until 2018, and that was just a version for itch.io. Only released it recently on Steam, and it's been available on Nintendo Switch for a while now, for a few years. I'm not placing it in the classics. I think I'm placing it in the awesome category, for the simple fact that this game is exactly what you expect from it, exactly what I wanted to create, and it's pixel perfect in its execution. The chiptunes, music, just the music alone, Gavin Harrison made that music perfect. If you listen to it a couple of times, leach itself into your brain and ears, and you will be humming it forever. The levels are extremely challenging, but you don't have to replay every level. Beat one level and you can move on to the next. There are secret temple levels. This requires you to be very good at the game, finding hidden keys. If you find all the keys, you get access to a special level. And if you unlock all the keys in all the levels, you get access to all the special levels, which are very extremely difficult and punishing, but doable. All the levels are handcrafted, and yeah, Stardash. It's very simple, basics platformer in a Game Boy style palette, but it's perfect. It's exactly what you expect from a game to be. And if you're looking for an easy game, skip this one. If you're looking for a very hard and difficult, punishing platformer, Stardash, check it out, and make sure to turn up the volume on the music. And I think that is the list. Do I want to move something around? Let me see. The awesome games, Gauntlet Power, the Space Run Stardash, not gonna change them at all. Ashworld could, I don't know. I think it fits there. On this one, can't move it. All right. It fits there pretty well. I am planning on doing a new game in the Ashworld universe, and I hope that will be in the awesome. I know now how to do an Ashworld game, how to do an open world game. I know how to improve on everything I did there, and I think I can do it pretty quickly. So Ashworld, for now, this Ashworld stays here. The new Ashworld game, maybe next year, maybe we'll see it up there. Regulators, you have to really do a video playing this game and getting into it again. I know the game is good. Just haven't played it because it has been just a messy game development time. And for that, the feeling could maybe even put it lower on the bar. But no, I'm keeping it there. Meganoid is exactly what it had to be. It's not as iconic as something like Stardash or Space Grunts. I'm keeping it there as well. Gunslugs 1, Gunslugs 2 on the same row, yeah. But for different reasons. Gunslugs 1 is just, for Orangepixel, has been an iconic game. Gunslugs 2 because it's technically everything that the original Gunslugs just missed, maybe. Or how I wanted Gunslugs 1 to be. It's bigger, more bombastic, more chaotic, it's better. In my view, it's a better game. Heroes of Loot 2, yeah, fits there perfectly, although I'm gonna move this one. Looking at Ashworld, and I'm gonna move Heroes of Loot 2 in the list of Ashworld and Meganoid. I think that fits better. Sir Questionnaire, the weirdo, always gonna be somewhere in the middle. It's a weird game, yeah, and it's okay, it sits there, yeah, nicely. Groundskeeper 2, now looking at the list, I think I'm gonna move this one to the list of the classics. It's more along the line of Snake Ore and Ink. So yeah, moving that one below. Sorry, Groundskeeper. Also because it's called Groundskeeper 2 everywhere. But there is no official Groundskeeper 1. Because it was this tiny little game jam game that I only made in HTML5, I think. So there was only a web version. Or was there a mobile version? There was a mobile version. Sorry, I'm moving you down there. Let's wrap up the video. Gunslugs Rogue Tactics. It sits there mostly because Gunslugs 1 and 2 are better games in many ways. feeling, how they feel. Gunslugs 1 and 2 feel a lot better, they did a lot better, more iconic. Rogue Tactics is a good game. It could have moved one row up, but then I would also have to move Gunslugs 1 and 2 up, and then everything eventually is awesome. Everything is awesome. Heroes of Loot 1, I'm gonna move Heroes of Loot 1 up. Now that Heroes of Loot 2 is up, this one can also go up, because the game has also been iconic for Orangepixel, and it did so well revenue-wise at a time that I really needed that Heroes of Loot always gives me good vibes. So just for that, I should have been the Orangepixel Vibe games, or games Vibe, ranked Vibe, never mind. Meganoid Chronicles stays there. It's better than, it's the best of the classics, I think. Space Guns 2 is even here, doesn't really fit, or it doesn't feel like it fits there, or doesn't fit higher, doesn't fit lower. I'm gonna keep it there. Yeah, Space Guns 2 is something you have to try out. It's a deck battle game, or a card deck battle type game. It's not bad. It's just different from most of my games. Maybe not. This is it. This was the Orangepixel Games ranked tier list. Let me stop recording the screen. Bam. All right. This is it. Let me know if you wanted to rank something different. Also, let me know if you like this. If you love this video, and I think it's a longer video than normal, but we can do a part 2, which will be even longer, because I will invite Aline for that video. We'll be ranking my very old games, my Nokia 3100 mobile games. Yeah, I'm not sure how we're gonna do it, but we can. So if you want to see that video, let me know. But that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. For all the idle watchers, if you have nothing to add, the keyword for this week's video, tier, tire, teary, tier. That. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.